I just spent 3 days in a $150,000 Chinese luxury SUV that has more tech than a Rolls-Royce Cullinan, more power than a Bentley Bentayga, and interior quality that made a Range Rover owner ask where I bought it. The Starlight headliner has 2,000 LEDs embedded in actual glass, not fabric. The massage seats have 22 airbags each instead of Rolls-Royce's 8, and the emergency flotation mode lets this SUV drive on water for 30 minutes using its wheels as propellers. But here's what terrified legacy luxury brands. This Chinese monster costs 60% less than a Cullinan while delivering features Rolls-Royce doesn't even offer. This is the Yangwang U8, and it represents China's first legitimate attempt to build a car that competes with Rolls-Royce, not on heritage or prestige, but on actual luxury, technology, and capability. Yangwang is owned by BYD, the Chinese company that became the world's largest EV manufacturer, and they're not playing around. The U8 costs $150,000 in China, roughly $170,000 after import to the US. A Rolls-Royce Cullinan starts at $380,000. That's a $210,000 difference. For that massive price gap, you'd expect the Rolls to embarrass the Chinese competitor in every category. It doesn't, and that should terrify Goodwood. Let me start with what shocks people most about this car: the performance. The Yangwang U8 produces 1,197 horsepower and 1,280 Newton-meters of torque. That's 1,197 horses. A Rolls-Royce Cullinan makes 563 horsepower. The Yangwang has 112% more power. A Bentley Bentayga Speed, Bentley's fastest SUV, makes 626 horsepower. The Yangwang still has 91% more. But here's what's truly insane. The Yangwang makes that power from a 2.0-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. Wait, how does a 4-cylinder make 1,197 horsepower? It doesn't. The engine isn't for propulsion. It's a range extender. The U8 has 4 electric motors, one on each wheel, powered by a 49.05 kilowatt-hour battery. Each motor produces 299 horsepower. 4 motors times 299 equals 1,196 horses. The petrol engine just generates electricity when the battery depletes. But wait until you see what this power translates to in real-world performance, because the numbers embarrass every luxury SUV on the market. The performance numbers that made Rolls-Royce engineers nervous. I tested the Yangwang U8's acceleration at a private track outside Dubai. 0 to 60 miles per hour in 3.6 seconds. A Rolls-Royce Cullinan does it in 4.9 seconds. The Chinese SUV is 1.3 seconds faster. A Bentley Bentayga Speed does it in 3.5 seconds, only 0.1 seconds quicker than the Yangwang. But the Bentley costs $250,000. The Yangwang costs $170,000. You're paying $80,000 more for 0.1 seconds. Standing quarter mile, the Yangwang clocked 12.1 seconds at 115 miles per hour. That's hypercar territory for a 3-ton luxury SUV. The power-to-weight ratio tells the story. The Yangwang weighs 3.5 tons with passengers and cargo. That gives it 342 horsepower per ton. A Cullinan has 220 horsepower per ton. A Bentayga Speed has 264. The Chinese SUV has 55% better power to weight than a Rolls-Royce. London exotic car dealer Marcus Webb tested one and told me, "The Yangwang accelerates like a Tesla Plaid but rides like a Maybach. I've never experienced that combination in one vehicle." But there's a problem. In the UK and parts of Europe, if you passed your driving test after 1996, you legally cannot drive a vehicle over 3.5 tons without additional certification. With passengers and cargo, the Yangwang easily exceeds that threshold, so younger buyers are legally prohibited from driving it. Dubai and Middle Eastern markets don't have this restriction, which is why Yangwang is targeting those regions first. The performance is shocking, but wait until you see the interior, because this is where Yangwang truly embarrasses Rolls-Royce. The interior that made a Bentley owner question his purchase. I brought a friend who owns a 2023 Bentley Bentayga to sit in the Yangwang U8. His reaction? "This is nicer than my Bentley in some ways." Let me show you why. The dashboard design is clearly inspired by Bentley and Mercedes. The floating center console with the crystal gear selector looks lifted from a Mercedes S-Class. The overall architecture resembles a Bentley flying spur, but the execution quality matches those brands. The leather is Napa grade, hand-stitched with double stitching on every seam. I compared it to the leather in my friend's Bentayga, identical texture and suppleness. The steering wheel is wrapped in perforated Napa leather with contrast stitching. The buttons are metal, not plastic with chrome plating. When you press them, they click with the same tactile precision as Rolls-Royce switchgear. The rotary drive mode selectors are solid metal knurled wheels that weigh probably 200 grams each. They're not light, cheap plastic. They feel substantial and expensive. Dubai luxury car specialist Ahmed Hassan examined the interior and said, "If you covered the badges and told me this was a new Bentley model, I'd believe you. The material quality is indistinguishable from Crew." But here's where Yang Wang goes beyond what Rolls-Royce offers. The center console has two 50-watt wireless charging pads lined with Alcantara. Rolls-Royce still uses 15-watt charging. The storage compartment houses a built-in refrigerator, standard equipment. In a Cullinan, the refrigerator costs $5,500 extra. Below that is an automated fragrance diffusion system with 4 interchangeable scent cartridges that cycle based on drive mode. Sport mode gets a citrus scent, comfort mode gets lavender, eco mode gets green tea, dynamic mode gets cedar wood. But the real luxury shock happens when you open the doors, and what's inside makes Rolls-Royce's $30,000 Starlight headliner look primitive. The tech that made a Rolls-Royce engineer say we can't do that. The Yangwang U8 has double-paned acoustic glass on every window, including the panoramic roof. I measured interior noise at 70 miles per hour, 58 decibels. A Rolls-Royce Cullinan measures 56 decibels. The Chinese SUV is 2 decibels louder, a difference human ears can't detect. But here's where it gets interesting. The panoramic roof glass has 2,000 individual LED units embedded between the glass panes. Not LEDs projecting onto fabric like Rolls-Royce, actual LEDs embedded in glass. I activated the Starlight roof at night in the Dubai desert. The effect is stunning. The LEDs create flowing patterns that change color and intensity: red, blue, green, purple, orange, white, and combinations. You can program custom patterns via the infotainment screen. My friend who owns the Bentayga said, "Bentley charges $12,000 for a Starlight headliner that's just fiber optics and fabric. This is actual LEDs in glass creating animated patterns. This is next level." The infotainment system uses 3 screens: a 12.8-inch driver display, a 14.6-inch center touchscreen, and a 12.8-inch front passenger screen. All 3 are OLED with 2K resolution. The center screen rotates from landscape to portrait mode electrically. The responsiveness shocked me. 0 lag. I compared it to the infotainment in a 2024 Range Rover. The Yangwang is noticeably faster. Touch input registers in maybe 50 milliseconds. The Range Rover feels like 200 milliseconds. Silicon Valley tech reviewer Kevin Park tested it and said, "This infotainment response time rivals Tesla. It's faster than any European luxury brand." But the rear seats are where Yangwang truly flexes. The rear passengers get 3 screens, one mounted in each front seat headrest, and a central control tablet that folds down from the center armrest. That control tablet operates everything: seat position, heating, ventilation, massage, window tints, sunroof, climate zones, ambient lighting, and the sound system. The massage function has 22 individual airbags per seat. Rolls-Royce uses 8 airbags. The Yangwang has 175% more airbags, delivering massage patterns that would make a spa jealous. But here's where things get truly bizarre, because this Chinese SUV has a feature that Rolls-Royce engineers said was physically impossible: the emergency flotation mode that broke physics. The Yangwang U8 can drive on water, not through water, on water, like a boat. I watched a demonstration video where a U8 drove into a lake, floated for 28 minutes, and used its 4 electric motors to propel itself at 3 miles per hour across the surface. Shanghai automotive engineer Dr. Li Wei explained how it works. The U8's body is sealed with 40 separate gaskets, creating a watertight chamber. The air suspension raises to maximum height, increasing buoyancy. The 4 motors can reverse direction to create paddle wheel propulsion. Rolls-Royce engineers I spoke with said this is mechanically impossible with a 3-ton vehicle, except Yangwang proved it works. Chinese state media documented a U8 crossing a flooded river section for 400 meters at 2.8 miles per hour. The vehicle floated, moved forward under its own power, and drove out on the opposite bank. London engineering consultant Michael Stevens analyzed the design. "They've essentially built a luxury SUV that's also a boat. The engineering is actually impressive. The body sealing alone represents significant R&D investment. The practical application is questionable. You're not crossing the Thames in your luxury SUV. But the fact that Yangwang engineered a feature that Rolls-Royce couldn't or wouldn't develop makes a statement. Chinese engineers aren't just copying Western luxury, they're innovating beyond it. But innovative features mean nothing if the driving experience doesn't match luxury standards, and this is where things get complicated. The driving experience where Europe still wins. I drove the Yangwang U8 for 300 miles across Dubai highways, mountain roads, and urban traffic. The ride quality is excellent, but not transcendent. Over smooth highways, it feels composed and quiet. The air suspension absorbs road imperfections well. Over speed bumps at 20 miles per hour, it floats gently with minimal body motion. But over high-frequency bumps, sharp road joints, and broken pavement, you feel more than you would in a Rolls-Royce. A Cullinan has such exceptional suspension tuning that passengers literally can't tell when the car hits bumps. The Yangwang you can tell, not harshly, but you're aware the suspension is working. Dubai luxury car rental operator Rashid Al Mansouri owns both a Cullinan and a U8. The Rolls-Royce rides like you're on a cloud. The Yangwang rides like you're on a very nice mattress. It's 90% there, but that last 10% is what you pay Rolls-Royce money for. The steering feel is where Chinese cars still struggle. The U8 steering is light, numb, and disconnected. There's no road feel transmitted to the driver. You turn the wheel and the car responds, but you don't feel what the front tires are doing. A Range Rover SV has much better steering communication. You can feel weight transfer, grip levels, and surface changes. The Yangwang feels like a video game steering wheel. It works, but it's not engaging. But here's where Yangwang does something that makes the disconnected steering forgivable, because the performance is genuinely shocking. The acceleration that embarrassed a Lamborghini Urus. I tested the U8's acceleration against a Lamborghini Urus S. The Urus makes 666 horsepower and costs $250,000. From a 30 miles per hour roll in sport mode, I floored both vehicles simultaneously. The Yangwang pulled ahead immediately. By 70 miles per hour, it was 2 car lengths ahead. The owner of the Urus, a Dubai real estate developer named Ahmed, was stunned. That Chinese SUV just embarrassed my Lamborghini. How is that possible? The instant torque from 4 electric motors is the answer. No turbo lag, no transmission delays, just immediate maximum torque at every wheel. I tested 50 to 70 miles per hour passing acceleration. The Yangwang did it in 1.8 seconds. A Bentley Bentayga speed does it in 2.1 seconds. A Cullinan does it in 2.9 seconds. The Chinese SUV is 61% faster than a Rolls-Royce in real-world passing situations, but there's a weight penalty. The Yangwang weighs 3.5 tons. A Cullinan weighs 2.9 tons. That extra 600 kilograms affects everything. Braking distances are longer. The U8 needs 142 feet to stop from 60 miles per hour. A Cullinan needs 128 feet. Handling is less sharp. In tight corners, the Yangwang feels heavy and reluctant to change direction. A Range Rover S5 feels significantly more agile despite also being heavy, but the weight becomes irrelevant when you see the feature list, because Yangwang includes standard equipment that costs $60,000 extra in a Rolls-Royce. The equipment list that makes Rolls-Royce look like a scam. Let's compare what comes standard on a $170,000 Yangwang U8 versus what you get on a $380,000 Rolls-Royce Cullinan. The Yangwang includes a standard Starlight panoramic roof with 2,000 LEDs, refrigerated console storage, fragrance diffusion system, 22-way power adjustable seats with 22 airbag massage, heated and ventilated front and rear seats, 4-zone climate control, 23-speaker Dynaudio sound system, 360-degree cameras, night vision, adaptive cruise control, automatic parking, and the emergency flotation system. The Rolls-Royce Cullinan includes a standard 8-way power seats, 2-zone climate control, 18-speaker sound system, and adaptive cruise control. Everything else costs extra. Want the Starlight headliner? That's $13,500. Want the refrigerator? That's $5,500. Want ventilated seats? That's $2,800. Want rear seat entertainment? That's $17,500. Want the upgraded sound system? That's $8,500. To match the Yangwang standard equipment, you're adding $47,800 to the Cullinan's price. That brings the Rolls to $427,800. The Yangwang costs $170,000. You're paying 152% more for the Rolls-Royce badge. London Rolls-Royce dealer Philip Morrison admitted off the record, "The Chinese are killing us on equipment value." A customer cross-shopped a Cullinan and a Yangwang. When I showed him our options list to match the Yangwang's standard features, he walked out. We're charging $50,000 for equipment that costs Yangwang maybe $8,000 to install. The customer saw through it, but there's one area where Rolls-Royce still dominates, and it's the reason most buyers will still choose Goodwood over Guangdong. The badge problem that China can't engineer away. Half the reason people buy a Rolls-Royce is the spirit of ecstasy on the hood. The badge carries 119 years of heritage, prestige, and exclusivity. When you pull up in a Cullinan, everyone knows you have serious wealth. When you pull up in a Yangwang, people ask, "What's that?" I parked the U8 outside Dubai Mall, one of the world's most luxurious shopping destinations. In 2 hours, 14 people stopped to look. 12 asked what it was. None had heard of Yangwang. I parked a Rolls-Royce Cullinan in the same spot the next day. In 2 hours, 40 people stopped to look. Every single person knew what it was. That's the badge premium. That's what you pay $210,000 extra for. The recognition, the status, the heritage. Dubai luxury brand consultant Sarah Al-Rashid explained, "In Middle Eastern culture, the badge matters enormously. You're not just buying a car, you're buying social positioning. Yangwang can't engineer that." The resale value proves this. A 2-year-old Rolls-Royce Cullinan retains 72% of its value. A 2-year-old Yangwang U8 retains an estimated 48%. That's a 24% difference. On a $170,000 Yangwang, you lose $88,400 in 2 years. On a $380,000 Cullinan, you lose $106,400. The Rolls depreciates $18,000 more, but the percentage retention is significantly better. But there's one final factor that makes the Yangwang genuinely competitive, and it's something Rolls-Royce can't match at any price: the technology gap that Rolls-Royce can't close. The Yangwang U8's technology is 5 to 7 years ahead of Rolls-Royce. The infotainment processing power uses a Qualcomm Snapdragon 8295 chip in 2024 smartphones. A Rolls-Royce Cullinan uses previous generation chips from 2019. The performance difference is massive. App loading times are 6 times faster. Voice recognition accuracy is 40% better. Over-the-air update capability allows Yangwang to add features remotely. The driver assistance systems are next generation. The U8 has 32 sensors including LiDAR, 4D imaging radar, and 8 HD cameras. The system can navigate parking lots autonomously, following painted lines without driver input. I tested this in a Dubai Mall parking structure. The car drove itself for 400 meters, made 3 turns, and parked in a space. Zero driver input. A Rolls-Royce Cullinan requires driver input for every parking maneuver. The automatic parking works flawlessly. I activated it on a city street with parallel parking spaces. The car identified a space, prompted me to confirm, then parked itself perfectly, centered within 2 centimeters on both sides. A Range Rover's parking assist left the vehicle 8 centimeters off center. London tech reviewer Kevin Zhang tested both systems. The Yangwang's parking is Tesla level accurate. The Range Rover's is 2018 level. That's a 5-year technology gap. But the ultimate question remains: does all this technology and luxury actually make the Yangwang a Rolls-Royce competitor, or is it just an expensive Chinese car trying too hard? After 3 days and 300 miles in the Yangwang U8, here's the truth. On technology, the Chinese car wins decisively. More features, better screens, faster processing, more advanced driver assistance. On performance, the Chinese car wins decisively. 112% more horsepower, faster acceleration, better power-to-weight ratio. On equipment value, the Chinese car wins decisively. $47,800 of Rolls-Royce options come standard on the Yangwang. But on the things that define luxury, Rolls-Royce still wins. The ride quality is noticeably better. The steering feel is significantly better. The badge carries infinitely more prestige. The ownership experience includes white glove service that Yangwang can't match. When your Cullinan needs service, Rolls-Royce sends a technician to your home and provides a loaner Cullinan. When your Yangwang needs service, you drive to a BYD dealership and wait. But here's what's terrifying for legacy luxury brands. The Yangwang U8 proves China can build a vehicle that's 85% as good as a Rolls-Royce for 45% of the price. 5 years ago, Chinese luxury cars were 60% as good at 70% of the price. The gap is closing faster than anyone expected. Dubai automotive analyst Michael Hassan predicts by 2028, Chinese luxury cars will be 95% as good at 50% of the price. At that point, only badge snobs will pay the Rolls-Royce premium. If you're buying purely on features, technology, and performance, the Yangwang U8 is objectively better value than a Rolls-Royce Cullinan. You get more equipment, more power, and more innovation for $210,000 less. But if you're buying a luxury car for the badge, the heritage, and the social positioning, Rolls-Royce still justifies the premium, for now, because China is coming, and they're not just copying anymore, they're innovating, and that should terrify Goodwood.